We are live. What's up, my friend? Abby here. Let me get the screen off. Welcome to the Write With Me live stream. It's been forever since I did one of these, and I'm really excited to be back. I didn't do one last month, but we have been doing them pretty much every month, and I've kind of liked this tradition of showing up for each other as a group for a group writing session every month. So that's what this live stream is. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here. I'm going to give everybody a minute to hop on. But first things first, I want to make sure that you can hear me and see me okay. That's always the first thing. So let me know if my audio sounds good and if you can see me okay. Looks like we have a lot of writers hopping on. So exciting. So good to see you all. Tell me where you're tuning in from as well, because I know that our community is so diverse and it's amazing. You guys are all over the world. So I always love to see where you're tuning in from and what time it is there, because I know the time differences can be so annoying, like to figure out, when is the best time for us all to get together and write together. So hopefully it is a good time for you where you are in the world. Awesome. So many different places: Norway, Canada, Dallas, England. That's so cool. Awesome. Well, it's so good to see you all. So good to see your smiling faces, and I'm glad you can hear me okay. I think everyone can hear me all right. Awesome. Fabulous. So, what are you working on today? We're going to write together, and I'm super excited because I have not had a ton of time to write this week. Things have been super busy because I've been working on another project, and I hinted at that on my YouTube channel. I told you that I'm working on publishing a new book, which I haven't announced yet. I haven't made the official announcement about of what it's actually about or anything. That's coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But this week, for the past week, actually more than a week, I have been recording a new audiobook. That's all I'm going to say. But it has been interesting, and that's actually why this computer is here, because I had moved this computer into my office, but I moved it back here because I've been using my closet as my makeshift sound booth this time for recording this audiobook. So it's been an interesting setup. I hope to make a vlog about it later when I announce what the book is about, or maybe before. We'll see. Writing vlog is definitely coming soon. I have also been working on a new episode of Science of Story for you guys, which I'm so excited about. Y'all are going to love it, and it's a good one. It's going to be a good one. So hopefully that will be coming at you next Wednesday. I'm hoping that it will be done by then. If all goes well, it will be up next Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's what I've been up to lately. Been trying to write the series that me and my sister are writing together. That's what I'm going to be working on today. I'm going to be writing a backstory flashback sequence that I actually decided to go back and insert a flashback into a previous chapter that I've already written. So it's a bit messy right now. I need to write the actual flashback, so that's what I'm going to be working on today. That's today's assignment, and I have a nice iced coffee here to sustain me. Hopefully you have something yummy to drink while you do this. Awesome. So looks like you guys are working on some really cool projects, which is so exciting. And looks like we have a lot of people on the live stream. So I want to get right into the writing session. How we do this, if you are new around here, is we do writing sprints. 3 writing sprints usually leads us to 2 hours because I talk too much between the breaks. But that's just how we roll. But we go for 25 minutes and then a short break. Short break. I try to say short, but you know me. I just can't stop talking. So I answer your questions during the breaks. If you have questions for me, I'm going to pause each 25-minute writing sprint, and we're going to chat about our stories. You can ask me questions. I will answer your questions. Hopefully I won't be able to get to all of them, but I will answer some of them. And yeah, we're going to do 3 writing sprints just like that. So if you wish, you can set a timer for 25 minutes. I'm going to set my timer and you'll hear it go off if you have your sound turned on when the 25 minutes is up, and then we will chat, okay? So hopefully you are ready to write and you have something yummy to drink and you're ready to dive into your project, whatever that may be. So set your timer for 25 minutes, and that's when we're going to take a little break and talk to each other. And yeah, I will shut up now so we can all get into our writing projects, and I will talk to you on the first break. Ready, set, write. And that is our timer for sprint number 1. So tell me how it went. Or finish writing your last lines if you're in the middle of the thought. I don't want to interrupt you. Sometimes I let the timer ring for too long because I'm just like, I'm in the middle of a thought and I can't stop right now. So hopefully your first writing sprint went well. Mine went well. Sometimes it's hard to like get into the scene at first, but I feel like I'm in the scene because I've thought about this scene like so much. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah. So I feel like I'm pretty much into it at this point. Looks like you all had a good writing sprint. 700 words. Wow. 500 words, 262 words, 447. Awesome. Congratulations. Very good job. Way to stay focused and give yourself and your writing project the time because it deserves it. It deserves your time and your attention and your love. So, looks like you guys had a productive sprint. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I'm going to answer a few questions. And then we're going to go into sprint number 2. So, okay, first one I see, I don't know what to write. Please help. I made a couple videos on this. Definitely check them out. One is called How to Brainstorm a Book Idea, and the other is Need Story Ideas. I can't remember what it's called. What to do when you have no ideas. Those 2 videos are very good. I recommend watching the newest one, which is kind of my little hack for coming up with new story ideas that are unique but that you will fall in love with, drawing inspiration from many different sources and creating your own unique idea. So check that out if you haven't seen that video already. I think that would help you out a lot. But that's a common struggle that a lot of writers face. Let's see. I feel like too much is happening in my story. Any advice? Well, out of context, if you feel like too much is happening in your story as far as the plot goes, like too many things are going on, it's distracting from your main character's internal conflict or their character arc, maybe consider saving some other ideas that aren't as important to the character arc and using them either later, or not using them in this book, maybe using them in another book, or making this book a series. So that's something that I have been running into recently, writing this series with my sister, and I'm not super into writing series. This is my first real like official series that I've written. So it has been kind of a new experience for me to be like, well, that can be saved for another book, because usually I'm like, okay, I have all these ideas, I want them all to work in one book. But this story has been interesting because we actually ended up going with a different structure than I had originally planned, because it was just too much. Too much was happening in the first book. And I'm like, this is going to end up being like 200 to 300,000 words, Katie, we can't do this. So we ended up moving some ideas and some of the plot that we had planned for book 2. So that is another thing that you could think about doing, is maybe stretching this out into multiple books, even if it was just a duology. How can you still keep all those ideas, but make it so that each story is more succinct and in keeping with the main themes and the main character arc that you're following? So a few different things you can do there. From Clara, I really love writing in first person past, but I feel like writing in third person would be better for my story. What should I go with? I made a video about choosing a tense, or rather a point of view, like first person, second person. So check that out. I kind of just go over like the different pros and cons of each one, which to me that's the best way that I know to like make a decision like that, is to go over what are the pros and cons of these 2 methods of writing. And ultimately, I would recommend going with the one that you enjoy reading the most. Like, we all have something that we enjoy reading the most. And for me, that is first person. Like, I much prefer first person, and actually really like first person present tense, which is how I write most of my stories. But I don't mind first person past tense either. It's a very nuanced difference. A lot of times first person present sounds more like you're there in the middle of the action when it's happening. So that's why I like first person present, but I also like third person sometimes. However, I don't write a lot of third person because I find that when I'm reading a book in third person, sometimes I will end up subconsciously changing the pronouns in my head of like into first person, because I'm like, I really wish this was written in first person, even though it's not. So that's something that I've just noticed about myself as a reader, that I enjoy first person way more. So I would ultimately go with what you like the most, but I would also consider the pros and cons of each one. And if you're trying to do something like include another character's backstory, for instance, and you feel like the only way to do that is through third person because you're not going to have that person or that character have a first person point of view, maybe consider some other options of ways that you can reveal that other character's backstory without switching to their point of view. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do this, and I've talked about all of this in other videos, so I don't want to ramble too much about it now, but that's something I've been thinking about a lot as well. Okay, looks like a super chat just came in. 2 super chats. Thank you so much. First to Ivania. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for hosting this, Abby. I'm writing a short film script that I'm going to be shooting soon. I'm nervous and excited. Wish me luck, guys. That is so awesome. Good luck. And I'm sure it will be amazing. That's so exciting. And thank you for the super chat. For anybody who doesn't know, super chat is just a fun way to support me while you're here on the live stream. You'll see the button right next to when you go to chat in the chat box. It's the button right underneath the chat box. And yeah, it's just a cool way to support me and what I do here on YouTube. If you feel compelled to, your comment will stay highlighted in my feed for longer so that I am more likely to see it and answer your question, because the chat does move quickly. Next super chat came in from Not Sorry Just Max. I am so happy to see your channel grow. I've been around since you had 20,000 subs, and I'm always looking forward to Wednesdays. Thank you so much. That is so encouraging to me, and that means a lot to me. Thank you so much, and thank you for the super chat. Thank you all for being here, because you are what keeps me going. So let's answer a couple more questions, and then we're going to get into writing sprint number 2. Let's see. Do you have any tips for writing action scenes? I'm having trouble making things seem exciting. Ooh, that's a good question. So action comes in all different forms, obviously, whether it is a fight scene or a chase scene or something else that's action adventure, something else exciting happening. The thing that I always try to remember when I'm writing an action scene is keeping it very deep point of view with the character that we care about. So if you are in a particular character's perspective and you want the reader to care about this character, we have to know why what's happening matters to them, right? And if the scope of things is too broad, you can feel detached from that character. You end up feeling kind of detached and like you've left their perspective, you left their head, you don't really see things through their eyes or feel their feelings anymore. You are kind of just seeing the whole scope of all of this stuff happening. So I try to avoid that by staying super deep point of view in the character's perspective that I want the reader to care about. Or if there are multiple characters, what character is this action event going to have the biggest impact on? So that's another thing that I like to consider when choosing point of view of who's going to be, like, whose perspective is going to be the main focus on this action scene. Also considering who knows the most. That can be helpful, because sometimes you want to see things from the character who knows the most. Sometimes you don't want to see, you want to see things from a less informed character. So that's another thing to consider. But keeping the focus small would be my main piece of advice here, because if the focus is too big, then it becomes like a bunch of chaotic stuff just happening, and the character we cared about feels sort of lost in the crowd, so to speak. So keeping the focus small and showing us why what's happening matters to that one character. That will keep things exciting, and that will keep your reader on the edge of their seat because they care about this character, right? Like I always talk about on my channel here, we don't care about what's happening necessarily, we care about who it's happening to. So keep the focus small and you should be good to go. Another super chat from Amy. Thank you so much, Amy. You're the best. Love you so much. Okay, let's answer one more question, and then we're going to get into our next sprint because I talk too much, like I always say. Whoa, my chat jumped away. Hold on. Oh, where did it go? Okay, from Samantha. How can I find my own writing style that makes my talent really shine? I love your videos as well. You've taught me more than I've learned in school. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that my videos have been helpful to you and inspiring. As far as finding your writing style, this is definitely a time thing, which is an annoying answer to give. I know, I hate giving that answer, but it is really a matter of practice, 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 and time, and eventually you will realize that, wow, I have this writing style that I feel comfortable in. However, I like to say that writing style is really not something that is yours as much as it is the characters. So this has been something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Actually, I made a little like short live stream on Instagram recently. If you saw that, you've heard me talk about this already. But I like to think of writing style as the character's voice. So every book that you pick up in the future that I have written, I want you to not feel like this is Abby's writing style as much as this is the character's writing style, or this is the character's thought process. I want you to feel like you are the character, right? Now, inadvertently, some of my own style and my own technique will bleed over into that because I'm the one writing it, obviously. But it's more fun. It's more fun, and long term, it is so much better if you can focus in on who is this character and what do they sound like? How do they see the world? How would they narrate this story? Even if you're writing in third person, you can still do this. Giving each story its own style and its own flavor, that is going to be way more memorable than trying to find just a particular style that you can stick with for everything that you write. It'll be more fun for you as the writer, and it will be more fun for your readers. And it will also help you to enrich your characters and make them feel more realistic if you're not writing this from your perspective, but more like you're sinking into the character and you're writing with their voice, if that makes sense. So that would be my my number one tip for writing or finding your writing style, because it's really just, it's always changing, you know, but time and practice will bring you closer and closer to finding your unique voice. So hopefully that helps. Let's get into writing sprint number 2, because I feel like I talked way too long again. So set your timer for 25 minutes, and we're going to get back into this. And in 25 minutes, we'll pause and we'll do another break, and I will answer some more questions, okay? So 25 minutes on the timer. Let's go. that is the timer for sprint number 2. So, how did it go? Let me know in the chat. My sprint went well, but sort of trying to decide where I'm taking this scene next, because I don't want to go for too long. I don't want to make this scene too long because, like I said, it's a flashback. So I'm kind of like stopping the putting the current events on pause to go into this flashback. So I try not to make it like too long, but you know me and flashbacks and backstory, I just cannot get enough of it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Awesome. Looks like you guys had a great sprint. 800 words, 700, 290. Wow, awesome. Congratulations. That's so, so great. Awesome. Fantastic work, you guys. Yes, I love writing flashbacks too. Any tips on how to deal with self-criticism while writing? That's a good question. And me and my sister have done a couple of podcasts on that topic, actually. We did one on taking criticism from others and also on dealing with self-doubt. So if you type in the Kate and Abby Show self-doubt or motivation or something like that, you should see like all of our podcast episodes on that. We have a lot to say on that topic. And I highly recommend watching those because they are very motivational. Like we've had so many writers comment and write to us saying that those podcasts have really inspired them and uplifted them with dealing with self-doubt and self-criticism and stuff like that. So definitely check those out, because when Kate and I get together and start talking about this stuff, we are fire, if I do say so myself. So I think that would help you. So definitely check out those episodes. Let's see. Ooh, here's an interesting question. When having two love interests, how do you avoid making readers love the wrong one? So sounds like you're writing kind of a love triangle-ish, or at least having two different love interests, and you want your readers to have you want them to like root for one pairing of these two characters more so than the other. First, of course, there are going to be some of your readers who like the other character better. But as far as setting things up so that your readers will fall in love with one character more, I think this is really, of course, it's subjective depending on the reader and their personal interests and what they like in a character, but focusing more on what is the better thing long term for the couple. Like how do their weaknesses and their strengths sort of come together and serve each other, and ultimately what would be the better pairing. Like usually there's one of the two pairings that would be like ultimately better for both characters, and it all depends on the personalities of your characters, obviously, and their goals in life and everything like that. But usually one is better than the other, just better for the character, I should say. And that ends up typically being the one that people root for, because you can see how those two characters really play to each other's strengths and help each other's weaknesses, and they just pair well together, instead of the other character will probably not be as harmonious in a relationship with that character. So it really depends. And I would set out more on the mission of making sure all the characters are very conflicted and struggling with their own goals and motives behind those goals. But ultimately, there is one true pairing that is better long term. and that will probably be the one that your readers root for the most. But you'll also have the other side of the spectrum of people shipping the other two characters, and that's okay too. That's fun. Another super chat just came in. Thank you so much to Sarah. Short story letter structure. How do I choreograph character finding out she's pregnant alone, stealing scissors from hospital? This is kind of a really deep question, which I answer more like specific story questions, which I should have mentioned this earlier. I do answer all the questions. I try to answer as many questions as I possibly can from the chat here, but I get more in depth for answering specific story questions on my Patreon, which is several different levels, but on the VIP podcast level, there is a monthly podcast that I do every month, and I sit down and answer all your questions unedited. It's kind of like just sitting and having coffee together, and I answer all of the questions, and it's unedited, and it can get more specific, like longer questions, more detail. So definitely check that out if you are interested in asking me more of a story specific question, but I try to keep them like more broad and not quite as deep and specific in context here on the live stream, just for the sake of time. So definitely check that out. Check out my Patreon, because I get more in-depth questions, and I answer more in-depth questions there. Let's see. Same tense. Any tips for staying in the same tense? My fingers just love to go between past and present. Oh my gosh, I know the struggle is real. I do this too sometimes. Actually, I was just doing this because I was writing a flashback, which is in past tense, and most of the book that I'm writing here is in present tense because I prefer that, like I said earlier. But this flashback is in past tense, so I kept jumping back and forth. It's going to need editing for sure. Like if you have a specific one that you like a lot, that you tend to write a lot in, then you're going to jump back and forth, because it's just hard to like rewire your brain that way, I find anyway. So definitely editing is going to save you there, but I wouldn't worry too much about it in the first draft, because if you're worried too much about it, you'll be focusing on that and not focusing on getting the other parts of the story right. The technical things can always change, so don't worry too much about that in the first draft process. You look like the lo-fi girl when you write. I've had like multiple writers say that to me now. It's so funny. Let's see. My chat keeps jumping. Sorry about that. Another question, is it okay to switch point of views in the same chapter? I would avoid doing this unless you have a header or something that's telling us that you're switching point of views, because otherwise you're just head hopping, which is jumping from one character to another character, not staying in that character's perspective, which can be confusing to the reader if we are not told ahead of time that, okay, we're switching point of view now. So if it's like a really long chapter and you want to switch to another character without breaking the chapter, then as long as you let the reader know that we are switching point of view, it's totally fine. But if not, then it's going to be confusing, because that's technically head hopping. So definitely watch out for that. Let's see, I thought I saw... Whoops. Another super chat just came in. Thank you so much. Abby, I know something needs to motivate the character so they take action on their goal. So I was wondering, is it okay that the character's goal motivated by their misbelief? Absolutely. Their goal should definitely be motivated by their misbelief. I talk about this a lot when I talk about like internal conflict and building your characters. And the root behind their goals is really the motive. And the motive comes from their beliefs. It has to, because it comes from who they are and what they want to accomplish in life and what they perceive as being the path to happiness, or at least satisfaction. And a lot of times that comes from events that took place in the past, which is why I love writing backstory so much. And I think it's important to include backstory or flashbacks, or at least some sort of indication of what happened in the past in your book, so that we can see, or your story, whatever, it might not be a book, but just your story in general, so that we can see why this character is the way they are, what brought them to this place, why do they have these beliefs, why do they have this motive that's leading them to the goal. That is what will make your character's goal feel realistic and make us relate to it. Like, even if it's not a goal that we would personally have, maybe you're writing kind of a morally gray hero, or a morally gray character, or even a villain, and their goal is not something that you personally relate to, but you can see why they have this goal, because it comes from their internal conflict. So that's why it's so important to make sure that their conflicts are rooted in their misbeliefs. Okay, so yes, absolutely. Another super chat, thank you so much, from Holly. I'm editing my fantasy novel. There are tons of plot holes and the external conflict is really messy. Would discussing it with somebody else help? Yes, absolutely, especially if they are a trusted writing buddy or writing partner, critique partner, or even somebody who just reads your genre and likes it. Somebody who will give you honest feedback. And that is so valuable. It is so valuable to get feedback from people while you're in the middle of writing the first draft or revising, whatever the case may be. But as far as too much external conflict happening, like I said earlier, I answered another writer's question earlier about a lot of things happening. Entertain the idea of maybe making this more than one book if you want all the same external events to happen, but maybe not all crushed together in the same book. They could be spread out over several different books. So keep that in mind for sure. Let's see. I thought I saw one more super chat come in. Didn't want to miss it, but okay. It was just, sorry, it was duplicated. Okay, no worries. Let's get into the next writing sprint. So writing sprint number 3. Let's hop back into our manuscripts and get one more good writing sprint in. 25 minutes on the clock. Set your timers now if you like that sort of thing, or get a refill of coffee or something like that. And let's get back into it. Okay, boom. That was the end of sprint number 3. My timer just rang, and how'd it go? This sprint was like slower for me for some reason because I kind of hit a snag with this scene. I'm not sure where I want to take it from here, but yeah, like I said before, I'm trying to like keep it pretty short. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But I'm definitely going to return to the scene. Let's see. How many words did I write since I've been sitting here? Oh, I guess I wrote more than I thought. 1,300 words in this session. Looks like you guys had a good writing session as well. Lots of words were written. 300 words, 729, 326. Awesome. First draft finished. Wow. Congratulations. That is awesome. That's so exciting. Got some planning done. Yay. Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations, guys. Great job. Way to show up for yourself today and get some words in. I'm so glad that this live stream has been helpful to you all. And I am definitely going to be doing these more. I'm going to be doing more live streams, more Write With Me's. I've kind of made this like a monthly tradition, I guess, that every month, at some point during the month, we show up and write together. And I really love that. It's really cool to check in with you guys and be able to see what you're working on and help each other to make progress, hold each other accountable, be our own best writing partners, and to help each other to show up for ourselves and your art, because it is important. It matters. It matters to you. It matters to the world. So way to show up for yourself today and to show up for this live stream. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope to do another live stream like this next month, and every month going forward. And yeah, so that's always really fun to get together and write together. And like I said before, I'm working on a new project, which is a new book, and working on publishing it, rather. I should have said that. I'm working on several different books as far as writing goes, but publishing, as far as publishing goes, I'm working on publishing a new book, and the announcement for that is coming very soon. So stay tuned for that announcement. It will probably be the end of this month that I announce what it is. And I'm so excited because you guys are going to love it. And I'm so looking forward to seeing your reaction and just sharing everything that I've been keeping a secret for so long with this book. And that's what I've been like neck deep in working on lately. That's why I've been a little bit MIA, and that's just how it goes, because it's just me doing all this. So yeah, things have been crazy, but good. And I'm really excited to share the new book with you. And the audiobook version, which I just finished recording yesterday, which was so exciting to finally finish that, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So stay tuned for all of the good things coming in the future, coming next week and next month. So excited. It's gonna be great. Thank you to the super chat that just came in. Leah, totally missed the live, but I wanted to show some love. Keep going, Abby. Thank you so much. I'm sorry you missed the live. It's so hard to like coordinate the different time zones and stuff, but I hope to do some more in the future that are different times, maybe someday. I keep saying this, I'll get around to doing like a nighttime Write With Me live stream, which would be fun. But I'm going to be doing this again next month, so hopefully you can come to next live stream, and I hope to see the rest of you there as well. Thank you so much for being here on this live stream today, for writing with me and sharing your progress with me, and for supporting this channel. My gratitude is just overflowing for you guys. I love you guys so much, and I so appreciate your support. Thank you for being here. Happy writing. I hope you got a ton of words in, and if you want to, keep writing. Keep at it. You rock. You are showing up for yourself and creating something beautiful, something that will change the lives of others, and that is something to be proud of. So don't forget it. I love you guys so much. Thank you for coming to the live stream, and I will see you next time. Okay? Until then, rock on.